President Trump's longtime political advisor and confidant Roger Stone pleading not guilty today, defiantly maintaining his innocence before a federal judge regarding 7 charges brought by special counsel Robert Mueller, ranging from obstruction of justice to witness intimidation. This all comes as the man overseeing Mueller's investigation is claiming it's almost over. Acting Attorney General Matthew Whitaker taking the rather extraordinary step of commenting on the status and efficacy of an ongoing investigation. That's usually a subject attorneys general refrain from commenting on. Whitaker telling reporters that Mueller is close to wrapping up and his decisions will be ultimately reviewed by the Justice Department. Comments that sparked concern from Democratic lawmakers that Whitaker could water down or even censor Mueller's findings. CNN's Jessica Schneider picks up the story.
Roger Stone uncharacteristically quiet on his way out of D.C. federal court, but still managing to flash his Nixon-esque victory sign. He quickly called into InfoWars to tell host Alex Jones, a man known for his conservative conspiracy theories, why he didn't talk.
I wanted very much to go outside and make a statement, but I was shouted down by crazed leftists who, of course, revere the First Amendment, and some members of the media shouting insulting questions before I could say a word.
Inside court, Stone only uttered the words, "Yes, Your Honor," and "I do," while answering the magistrate judge's questions. Stone's defense attorney entered his not guilty plea. Stone's case has turned into a spectacle.
The only thing worse than being talked about is not being talked about.
He spoke on the steps of the Florida courthouse Friday.
I never discussed these matters with the president. Tune into some of the shows tonight.
And went on a media blitz over the weekend. Stone faces 7 counts of obstruction, false statements, and witness tampering, all related to Robert Mueller's Russia probe. He'll be out on a $250,000 bond while his case moves through the court, but under strict conditions. He can't have contact with any witnesses in the case, can't have a passport, and can't travel outside D.C., Virginia, Florida, or New York. He'll also have to check in with probation every week by phone. And in a possible sign Mueller's work might be winding down, a prosecutor for the U.S. Attorney's Office in D.C. handled the court appearance today instead of someone from Mueller's team. That could signal Mueller's team might not see Stone's case through to any trial, leaving it to another part of the Justice Department instead.
Right now, the investigation is, I think, close to being completed, and I hope that we can get the report from Director Mueller as soon as possible.
The acting attorney general made this seemingly off-the-cuff comment at an unrelated press conference Monday, prompting a cascade of criticism on Capitol Hill.
I think it's inappropriate for the acting attorney general to be commenting on an ongoing criminal investigation under his auspices.
And speaking of the Mueller report, Democratic Senator Richard Blumenthal and Republican Senator Chuck Grassley have introduced a bipartisan bill that would require the Mueller report to be made public. But regardless, it is likely that Matthew Whitaker will be out and William Barr will be in as Attorney General by the time the Mueller probe wraps. And Jake Barr has said that he is hoping to release as much of the report as possible. We'll see if that happens. Jake?
All right, Jessica Schneider, thanks so much. Let's chat about this with my experts. Jen Psaki, let me start with you. 6 people in and around President Trump, close associates or people on the campaign, have been indicted or charged, all of them for lying. Now supporters of the president say none of them have been indicted for conspiracy. But there is this question, why do they keep lying? Why the constant lies about contacts with WikiLeaks or contacts with the Russians?
Well, as the old saying goes, the fish rots at the head. Donald Trump is the head of the fish, and I think he has sent the message that lying is okay and that no one's going to be caught. That's how he operated in his businesses, and that's how a number of his associates and campaign workers and people close to him have operated. Now, it's true that they have all been indicted for lying, but we also, Mueller's playing his own game. We don't know what the end game is here, regardless of what Matt Whitaker says. And he's clearly building a case to a conclusion. What that conclusion is, we don't know yet.
So, Congresswoman Love, take a listen to Roger Stone describing the case against him.
This is a lynching. This is a legal lynching of me because I appear on InfoWars, because I'm friends with Alex Jones, because I support Donald Trump and I supported him for president, and I still support him.
He's obviously trying to build a public case, either for his pardon or against whatever comes against the president, I suppose.
Well, I can imagine why he would feel that way. You have people running into your home, searching things. I mean, it's a very scary situation. My mom used to always say, you know yourself by the friends you keep. And so anybody who's running for president out there, remember who your friends are. And but the problem that we have is lying. The cover-up is always worse than the actual thing. Now, even though they haven't found collusions, we don't know what Mueller is going to do. The best thing that they could do is stop the lying and cooperate. And so that way we can get to a conclusion as soon as possible.
For some reason, they're not taking your advice, though. It keeps happening. Carrie, I want you to listen. The White House continues to insist that the indictments and convictions of all these individuals who worked on the campaign or in President Trump's orbit one way or another have nothing to do with the president. Here's Sarah Sanders from the podium yesterday.
The more that this goes on, the more and more we see that none of these things have anything to do with the president. What I can tell you is that the president did nothing wrong throughout this process.
What do you think?
Well, first of all, she can't really tell us whether or not the president did anything wrong because she's probably not in a position to know if he did do something wrong, whether he would tell her or not is a big question. The fact of the matter is that the Stone indictment moves us a little bit farther in terms of knowing that the things that Stone was involved in, communicating with WikiLeaks or surrogates of WikiLeaks or Julian Assange, who runs WikiLeaks, he was in communication with multiple individuals on the campaign. So it wasn't just one person. It's not like the Paul Manafort situation where the White House has been able to say this was just Paul Manafort doing things before he was affiliated with the campaign. Roger Stone, throughout the summer of 2016, was in communication with WikiLeaks and surrogates of it, and he was in communication with multiple senior people in the Trump campaign. Whether or not that was the president specifically, we don't know yet. And defenders of the president, such as former White House Communications Director Anthony Scaramucci, he was there for 11 days, but he was the White House Communications Director, they're all dismissing what the charges are, as we've been discussing. Take a listen to Scaramucci.
It seems, again, that these people are getting caught on process crimes as opposed to direct criminality related to the campaign. What do you think?
Let me take a chill pill for a moment. A process crime? Let me take you to a drug case, a terror case, a financial fraud case. 330 million Americans, if you lie to a federal officer, or more significantly, if you try to suborn a witness, a judge and a jury are going to say that's a federal crime regardless of whether it's drugs, money, etc. Why is it that in a political investigation, Americans say something I would judge as abhorrent, as horrible during a drug investigation is okay during a political investigation? The clue is the federal law says don't lie to the feds. That's a crime. Don't try to tell a witness what his testimony should be. That's a crime. I cannot understand why Americans who send their kids to Boy Scouts look at this and say, not okay for a drug case, but if you're a Trump supporter, maybe that's fine. It's not a process crime. It's a federal crime, and the dude ought to go to jail. It's not very complicated. As a prosecutor, do you think that when you look at everything that Mueller has laid out, do you think that this is ultimately going towards a conspiracy case? Because we have not seen that. Well, I come at it from having worked in the National Security Division at the Justice Department. This was a major counterintelligence investigation that then has discovered many crimes, from the financial crimes to obstruction to witness tampering, as it's expanded. And so his overall theory of the case that he started with the Russian indictments of the the Internet Research Agency, which is actually involved in the hacking, in the intelligence operation by Russian intelligence, the overall theory is conspiracy to defraud the United States. Who was involved in the conspiracy assisting Russian intelligence, conspiring with them to defraud the United States in terms of trying to affect the 2016 election? And so we are continuing to see, we haven't yet seen Americans or individuals affiliated directly with the Trump campaign charged in that conspiracy. Right. But the investigation is not yet over, and the Stone indictment takes us closer to understanding the facts of people closer to the campaign being knowledgeable, at least, about what was going on
pre or post some of these releases.
And Phil, reading the tea leaves, do you think this is ultimately leading to a place where some American will be charged with conspiracy, or do you think it's possible that it will just be, as Anthony Scaramucci referred to them, process crime?
I think neither. There's two pieces we're not considering. One, we keep looking at the legal case. There's a case that the special counsel will put together, a narrative that the Attorney General will get and determine whether he sends it to the Congress. That's going to give us the full story. We keep looking at bits and pieces. That won't be a legal case. It's the case the Congress is going to judge. I think that'll be a compelling story, not only about Russia. I think the less interesting story, more about whether there's a conspiracy to lie. There's one second and final piece, Jake, and that is we never talk about the Southern District of New York. How much information is the Southern District getting on financial crimes that Michael Cohen is talking about that involve the family? That doesn't involve Russia, but I suspect that's a shoe that will drop after Mueller, and we never talk about it.